All right, so I am sitting here with Brad McKinney. You're with the Service to the Armed Forces, represented for the Mississippi region for the American Red Cross.
Right.
And I'm going to try to steady my camera. So, Brad, I understand you're AmeriCorps Vista. Do you want to just talk about how you got started with national service and with the service to the armed forces?
Well, I'm a veteran.
Okay.
I spent 8 years in the Army Reserve and a year in active duty service on a deployment to Iraq. Um, and I had originally got interested in the military to use the GI Bill to pay for college, which it did. I got my bachelor's degree in business administration and started looking for gainful employment, but I saw the opportunity to serve our military as a service to armed forces representative with the Red Cross. I saw the Vista position posted, and I thought, wow, that would be a really good start to start a career trajectory with perhaps Veterans Affairs or some other organization that serves military and their families.
Awesome. That's fantastic. So, what school did you go to, may I ask?
You may. I went to Ole Miss,
Oh, okay.
graduated in 2012.
I'm just kidding. I was teasing you there. So if you want to just talk a little bit about working with the Red Cross, with the program that you're working with, Service to the Armed Forces, about what y'all do.
Okay, so everybody knows Red Cross, I think primarily for disaster relief, disaster response, maybe even blood services. But for whatever reason, even though it was its primary founding purpose, the Service to Armed Forces project in the Red Cross isn't as well known. So there's basically three components to it. There's information referral, which is us providing information and referral to
Cool.
military members and their families about services and organizations that can help them, usually through a crisis or disaster or that type of thing. Um, we also do reconnection workshops and deployment workshops, which basically help families and service members cope with the stresses of deployment and get
Sure.
things like their financial situation order before a soldier deploys or any service member deploys. Helps
Awesome.
them get reacclimated because it's a big adjustment once a service member gets home
Sure.
to go back and start either civilian life or just getting back to active duty life here in the States.
Sure.
And probably our biggest component is emergency communication services, where we follow up on cases of emergency communication. So, say for instance, a soldier is deployed and a family member has placed a phone call to the Red Cross
Sure.
service number and says there's been a death in the family. Maybe their father or their mother has died or is very sick, or maybe as a lesser case, the house payment, they can't make their house payment and the house is going to get foreclosed on and they need emergency financial assistance. Well, the family member of that service member would call the Red Cross number
Sure.
and get that message to their command because they're not always going to be immediately available. With
Sure.
email and everything,
Yeah.
you can. It's a lot easier to contact service members that are deployed
Absolutely.
than it used to be. But still, a lot of times their military commands want a Red Cross message just to sort of verify it because they know that the Red Cross follows up. And for instance, if someone's sick in the hospital, the Red Cross is going to call that hospital and verify that it's an emergency situation. So
Great.
basically, a big part of that is Service to Armed Forces caseworker. So what a caseworker does is when those emergency communications come through, SAF caseworkers follow up on those and make sure that the family's doing okay. Did they get the help that they need? Is there anything further that the Red Cross can do
Sure.
to help them through the crisis? So
Awesome.
that's pretty much it.
Great. And so, how would like somebody in Starkville or in Mississippi State, um, what would they, if they would get involved as a volunteer, what would they be doing?
Um, there's right now we're trying to ramp up and do more in this area to aid service members, their families, and veterans organizations around. We're trying to increase partnerships. It's kind of laid dormant for a while, but there's some new staff around the state that we're trying to build back up. The primary position we're trying to fill volunteer-wise, our big opportunity for volunteers is the Service to Armed Forces caseworker that I just mentioned.
Right.
So basically what they would do is there's a website you can go to and fill out an application to be a volunteer. It doesn't automatically obligate you to be a volunteer. It just kind of gets you in the system as a prospective volunteer that says, hey, I'm interested in volunteering. What can I do to help is basically what that application is doing. And then from there, you're followed up with one of our volunteer services representatives. And what they do is kind of either in person or over the phone, or maybe even just through email, will call you, contact you, get up and just kind of touch base with you and see what you're really interested in. Are you interested in the other branches of the Red Cross also, or you don't have to choose either or. They're not mutually exclusive. You can be interested and train as a disaster response volunteer, as well as a Service to Armed Forces volunteer. But that filling out that application as a volunteer is, that's the first step. And once you do that, it kind of takes off from there.
And so you say when a student or a faculty, staff, or community member would sign up, just kind of register, show that they're interested. To finish that process, they would have the opportunity to shadow somebody. Is that correct?
Right. So as far as we don't send people in, blindly to be a caseworker. Basically, the casework can actually be done from an internet-connected PC and a phone. So if you have a cell phone or a landline phone, I don't know who still has one of those, but
no doubt.
If you have internet-connected PC and a phone available, you can do the casework. You're looking at an online case management system that you can just pull up in any web browser, and you use your phone to contact the service member's family that placed the emergency communication message. And then what you would do is, in order to get started, you've spoken with volunteer services and you're interested in becoming a caseworker. In order to start the training, after you've done some sort of baseline orientation for the Red Cross, you're going to spend a day, probably, I don't know exactly how long, but just enough time until you feel comfortable doing the casework on your own.
Sure.
So if someone around this area was interested, we'd work out and get a trained caseworker that's been doing it for a long time to come to the Columbus Red Cross office and spend a day there doing the casework. And just so you can get an idea, it's not complicated, but there are little ins and outs of it that you'll need to know. And obviously you're not going to do the casework on your own until you're comfortable with it. So that's the most important thing. And once you've spent a day or ever how long it takes you to get comfortable with doing the casework on your own, that's when you'd start doing the casework.
Sure. And okay, so it's always important for, I think, our students, faculty, staff, or community members to know what skills could be used or what skills they could gain from a project. So could you think about a couple skills that somebody may gain by being involved as a volunteer? Obviously communication.
Right. Yeah, communication, interpersonal skills,
Sure.
and then just knowledge of the military, and
Absolutely.
and in addition to that, in addition to the training as a case worker, if they were interested in like social services or the humanities,
Perfect.
there's if one is so inclined, there's tons of free training available through the Red Cross in numerous other fields, and the Red Cross encourages that to cross train in all their different fields that they have volunteer opportunities for.
Sure. That's fantastic. Great. Oh, well, if you don't mind, if you wanted, would you be able to show up that that online application, and I could just kind of watch you, pretend to fill it out for a student so they know where to go? Would that be great? Okay. I'll just follow you over here. Hi, Jennifer. How are you? Great. All right.
So I've already got this pulled up.
So what you did here is you just Googled volunteer for the Red Cross Mississippi. Is that right?
Right, and I did that because the URL isn't the most memorable. But if you just Google volunteer for Red Cross Mississippi, of course the hot link will be available also on the event page. But once you click on that, that's going to be your first result on Google.
And it's going to take you to redcross.org/local Mississippi volunteer, which should be hyperlinked in the WorkSync page. So they won't need to kind of memorize that.
Right. So yeah, there's different information here, but this is it's kind of standardized for the Red Cross in general. But there's a little blurb here about volunteering for Red Cross Mississippi in particular.
Great.
And if you scroll down to about halfway down the page.
Oh, there it is. Volunteer application. Wow, that's easy. I think I could do that.
So click on volunteer application.
Okay.
And then it's going to pop up.
And you were even showing me there's a connect to Facebook button added to this site, isn't there?
Right. So,
awesome. Because I know a lot of students that I've been working with have been, there it is. Register with Facebook.
So yeah, if you click on that, it's going to
auto-populate some of your registration, I think, right?
Right. It really depends on how much Facebook information you already have. I mean, if you've got all that Facebook account filled out, which I do not, but if you've got all your Facebook account filled out with your particular details, it's going to populate that field for you. So when I did it earlier, it just filled out my name, Brad McKinney, because that's all I've got in, and I've got my email, and it populated all that for me. And if you've got your phone number and all that, and birth date, it should populate all that for you too. But if not, just go through and fill it out just like you would anything else.
Okay. Great. And is there an opportunity when they fill out this application for them to kind of select their interests, or is that?
Yes. Okay. So awesome. I'm not going to fill one out, but because I don't want to create a false account that they then have to go in and clean up. But once you fill out your application, it's pretty basic stuff: email, phone number, address, and your name. Once you do all that, you're going to also select the closest chapter to you. If you're in this area, you're going to select American Red Cross of North Mississippi.
Okay.
So
that's the one that they're going to select, right?
Right.
Okay.
And then once you fill it out, just click submit.
Okay.
And once you click submit, it's going to show you several different options for things that you might be interested in volunteering in.
Okay.
And that's actually not, just terribly important, because once you do this, you're going to show up as a prospective volunteer in our system.
Okay.
And a volunteer services rep is going to follow up with you and ask you what you're interested in. And if like I said, for the service to armed forces, if you're interested in that, just tell them you're interested in serving the military, and then that's going to get back to me, and once someone is referred to me regarding the service to armed forces casework, for instance, then I can arrange everything else.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you, Brad, for showing us this little quick orientation for volunteers.
Oh, you're welcome.
And-
Thank you for the opportunity.
No problem. Great.